a paternity action filed by the state. Would the parties please raise their right hands? You do solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Yes, Your Honor.
You both can put your hands down, starting with Mr. Swain. Sir, please state your first and last name for the record.
Sheddrick Swain.
And his counsel.
Mark Garza, representing Mr. Swain.
And Ms. Cheeks, your first and last name.
Zpora Cheeks.
And counsel for the state.
Joy Swatchku for the Office of the Attorney General.
Okay, we have temp orders in place. We were last here, and let's see. Last here, October the 18th. It was a temp order. I found sole managing conservatorship, the custodial parent, possessory, the non-custodial. So sole managing conservatorship, the custodial parent, possessory, the non-custodial, child support $1,418 beginning November 1st, 2024. The father to cover the health and dental. Retro child support was ordered, $20,909, payout $200, and no dental and medical support in reserve for a final hearing today. Okay, Ms. Wanchaku, what do we have today?
Okay, Your Honor, we have two things. The first is to address the Quadro file by Mr. Garza, if we can get that on record. It's agreed by all parties. And the only issue that we have is a brief contested matter. Parties are in agreement to standard visitation for a parent over 100 miles away. However, there is a request for further reduction in current child support, and there is not an agreement on that.
Okay, so one, I do not see the Quadro filed. I don't see that. It hasn't been accepted, I guess, or even if it has, it's not on the system where I can see that, counsel. So I'm not going to be able to address that today. If they agree to it, super, let them sign it.
Well, as afforded, it was filed and accepted by the district clerk's office. I'd also just emailed a copy to the Attorney General.
I don't see it, counsel, for, wait, 1 second, 1 second. I see it. Okay, so how much time are you requesting, counsel?
10 minutes.
Okay, you may proceed.
Okay. Well, I guess we can address the.
You can address Quadro first.
Okay, I will defer to Mr. Garza regarding the Quadro.
Okay, I'll call Mr. Swain.
Yes.
Mr. Swain, you recall last time we were here, there was a finding of retroactive child support. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that was around $20,000 retro.
Yes, sir.
And that was ordered payable at $200 a month. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
However, you have access to pay that money in a lump sum.
Yes, sir.
And that's in your retirement account.
Yes, sir.
However, according to the rules of the you work for the military.
Yes, sir, I do.
And according to the rules of the military, they require a court order, a quadro, in order for you to access that money to pay the retroactive in a lump sum. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you're asking the court to sign that quadro today.
Yes, sir.
I'll pass the witness on that issue.
I have no questions.
Okay. Any other witnesses you'd like to call?
No, Your Honor.
Counsel?
I'll call Ms. Zpora Cheeks. Ma'am, are you in agreement to signing off or in agreement with the Quadro so that the retroactive support can be paid to you in a lump sum?
Yes.
Okay, I'll pass Ms. Cheeks.
Okay, so if counsel, meaning the Attorney General's office, will circulate that, and I noticed your date, it says 2025 for where the judges, 2024, where my signature would go. So make sure it says today's date, okay? And circulate that. Quadro is entered.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You may proceed, counsel, for the state.
All right, I will call Sheddrick Swain.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you're in agreement that your possession and access schedule should be the standard based on you being 100+ miles away, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And based on that, you're seeking to exercise all visitations due to you, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that would include summers and holidays?
Yes, ma'am. Spring breaks. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what would be your request in terms of the visitation? Are you requesting that the child be able to come to where you reside for those breaks?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you in agreement that to pick up the child, for you and the child to fly from Texas to your residence and to return her and fly back with her when it's time for you to return her?
Yes, ma'am, pending the reduction that we discussed.
And what state are you in, sir?
I'm in Alabama, ma'am.
Okay,
Huntsville,
go-
Alabama.
all right, go ahead, counsel for the state.
Now, you're in agreement that the court did take into account you traveling to come visit the child here and reduced your child support from 1818 to 1418?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And is it your request that it be further reduced now that you'll be paying 2 tickets for a return, a flight to Texas and a flight back to Texas? Or I'm sorry, a flight from Texas and a flight back to Texas for both you and the child?
Yes, ma'am.
So based on that, what are you requesting that your child support be reduced to?
200 based off of, on average, I pay $4 to $450 for my ticket currently. So I'm asking for an additional reduction of 200 if possible, ma'am.
So you're asking that your child support be further reduced to $1,218 a month?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll pass Mr. Swain.
Mr. Swain, currently your possession schedule is 1 weekend a month, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And have you been coming to Texas for those visits?
Yes, sir.
And have you been actually visiting?
Yes, sir, I have.
So, but the current order does not include any holidays, does it?
No, sir.
Okay, so you're wanting the standard possession holidays to be included?
Yes, sir.
And for those holidays, as we understand, you understand that the mother does not want the child traveling alone.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And you're wanting to show you're willing to come pick up the child and bring her back for the holiday visitations.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but you're wanting an additional reduction to cover those extra costs by an additional $200 a month less. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there a way that y'all would drive to meet in the middle? Is that something that you're willing to do?
As Ms. Cheeks stated, her father lives in Lynette, Alabama, which is 215 miles from me. She wants to meet in Atlanta or somewhere in the vicinity en route to Lynette, Alabama, but I still have to drive to that location. That's approximately 3 hours from me, similar to Atlanta.
Okay, so you prefer to fly with your daughter for the holidays and have your child support reduced to cover the cost?
Yes, sir.
And is that what you're asking the court to do?
Yes, sir.
And would that be in your daughter's best interest?
Yes, sir.
I'll pass this witness.
Your Honor, I will call Ms. Zpora Cheeks. Ma'am, you're in agreement to Mr. Swain exercising the standard visitation schedule for a parent that's 100 plus miles away, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And are you in agreement that the child should not fly alone to go visit the father when he exercises his summer or holidays?
Yes, that's correct.
Based on that, you've heard him testify that he's seeking a further reduction in child support to $1,218 a month instead of the $1,418 that's in place. Are you in agreement?
No.
Can you please let the court know why you're disagreeing to further reduction in the child support?
So I'm in disagreement with that further reduction due to I've stated I'm able to not meet in Atlanta, but to meet in Lynette, Alabama. Whereas I would be purchasing a ticket for myself and my child as well. She has immediate family in Lynette, Alabama, and that way, you know, he's not on a time frame as far as when he has to bring her or when he has to drop her off. So I'm willing to meet him on that, and it would be the same thing as if, you know, I'm still purchasing 2 tickets as well.
So when you say you're willing to meet him, then are you requesting that you be able to take the child to a halfway point for Mr. Swain to pick up the child for his visitation?
Well, Lynette, Alabama is an hour and a half away from Atlanta. So I would fly into Atlanta and drive from Atlanta to Lynette, Alabama to meet him with the child.
How old is the child?
She's 11.
Okay. Has she ever been on a plane before?
Yes.
Okay. But always accompanied?
Yes, she's never been
Okay.
on a plane alone.
All right, so he is willing to purchase a ticket to accompany her, although the airlines would have her flying by herself. So he's doing that to appease you. You know that, right?
Yeah, this is in the best interest of the child for her safety. Yes, ma'am.
But children do fly alone. They do. They put them to the front of the plane. They put markers on them. The stewardess. There is a way that that can happen without someone flying with them. What I'm trying to make sure you understand is it is fine for a child to fly by themselves. I understand that you personally have a concern, and he's trying to acknowledge that concern, though. Okay. And even if you drove, he can still, based on the Texas law, I can consider that because that's gas that he is going to have to incur to exercise his visitation. If he stayed in a hotel overnight to exercise his visits, that can vary, meaning reduce the child support based on Texas law, Ms. Cheeks. Okay. All right. Any other questions, Ms. Wanchaku, before you pass them to Mr. Garza?
I have no further question.
Mr. Garza.
No
anything?
questions. No, Your Honor.
All right, child support is going to be 12/18, beginning April 1st, 2025. All the other orders are from temp to final are finalized. Court costs assessed to the gentleman 60 days from today's date. You guys are free to go. Have a good day, and you will receive a copy of the order via your emails today.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right, what's next, counsel?
The parties agree that these following provisions from the temporary order will remain in the final. And Mr. Swain was found to be the biological father, and the parent-child relationship established in this temporary order with the child, Zanila Cheeks. The parties agreed to remain with Ms. Cheeks as the sole managing conservator of the child, Mr. Swain the possessory conservator of the child. Ms. Cheeks can designate the child's residence without regard to geographic restriction. The base child support of $18.18 a month will remain again as the base, but father's asking for some credit toward that. The medical support will remain the same, TRICARE, and the dental support will remain the same, TRICARE, supplied by Mr. Swain through his military service. Additional health care expenses will be divided 50-50. And the parties understand that Mr. Swain will be ordered to pay court costs as billed by December 18th, 2024. And the court found no non-disclosure in the temporary order as well. So with that, I will call Ms. Cheeks. Ms. Cheeks, please state your name.
Zpora Cheeks.
Ms. Cheeks, has there been any additional incidences that would qualify as family violence between you and Mr. Swain since the last order?
No.
Any reason for non-disclosure of your information in this order since the last order?
No.
Did you hear and understand the agreed portions of the final order that I read in the record?
Yes.
Is that in fact your agreement?
Yes.
It is in the best interest of your child?
Yes.
All right, I'll pass this witness.
Mr. Garza, on the partial agreement, any questions for mother?
Not on the partial agreement, no, Your Honor.
Okay.
So I'll call Mr. Swain. Mr. Swain, is there any incidents of family violence since the last order, or any reason why your information would cause you harm if it were placed in this order? Anything that may have happened since May 13th, 2024?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you hear and understand the agreement as I read into the record?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that in fact your agreement?
Yes, yeah.
Is it in the best interest of your child?
Yes.
Okay. Pass the witness.
Any questions of your client on the partial agreement, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Then the court accepts the partial agreement temp to final, and counsel for the state, you may proceed.
Okay. So Ms. Cheeks, this temporary order provided 1 weekend a month visitation for father on the third weekend, Saturday and Sunday from noon till 6 p.m. Is that correct?
Yes,
Did Mr. Swain visit with the child during that period of time each month?
he visited once.
Okay. And what are you requesting the court to order for his visitation on a permanent basis?
Once every month, Saturday and Sunday, 12 to 8.
So you're wanting to extend it a couple hours to 8 o'clock?
Yes,
Would that occur here in Texas?
yes.
Do you know where Mr. Swain is living now?
I found out today he's living in Alabama.
Okay. And you're aware that he's seeking standard possession order, is that correct?
Yes.
And what would your response to that be?
You said he's taking standard possession order?
Right, one entire weekend a month plus holidays and summer possession.
I'm not okay with the holidays and summer.
And are you okay with him having a complete weekend, including overnights?
No, not overnight.
How old is your daughter?
She's 10.
And what are your reasons for being opposed to that?
Because a relationship has not been established, and my child has expressed to me she's not comfortable with that. With the holidays, we don't celebrate, or we're not religious at all, and due to our beliefs, I don't want her to have to participate in things that we don't engage in.
Okay.
With the holidays.
Do you agree with the period of time for retroactive support to be October 1st, 2022 through May 31st, 2024?
Yes.
Because he started paying child support pursuant to the temporary order in June. Is that correct? June
That's
2020?
correct.
And he was providing some support to you prior to October 1st, 2022. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And do you agree with the state's calculation of retroactive support during that period of time of $39,176?
Yes.
And you understand that if the court were to grant a judgment for that, we would also ask the court to include the current amount of child support owed under the temporary order of $909 for a cumulative judgment of $40,085.
Yes.
Do you agree with that amount?
Yes.
And do you agree with the state's request to for Mr. Swain to pay that back at $300 a month beginning November 1st, 2024?
Yes.
Okay. And you understand if the court did not order any retroactive, then we would not be asking for the judgment on temporary order because he's not really behind. That's just what he owes for this month. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Do you agree with any reduction in the current support of $1,880 for Mr. Swain having to come to Texas to visit with the child?
No.
Okay, and explain why you would not be in agreement with that.
Because if we were living where he is, and he had to leave on orders, would we still have to pay him for him to establish a relationship with his daughter? And I feel like that's payment for him to have to come here. When we lived closer, we lived in Atlanta for 5 years. He visited to my house once, and he was only 3 hours away then. And I have made every attempt to get her back and forth to his hometown, which was his home of record, to his mother's house during family times or events that they were having, or to get-togethers that they had. And that was a 3.5-hour drive both ways for me. So 7 hours round trip, and I had to also go get her, and I never was compensated for that. So I just don't feel that it's fair that he gets to get a break on the travel expenses when we've lived closer to him and there were no visits and there was no relationship established at that point, at that time.
Okay, I'll pass the witness.
No questions of this witness at this time.
Okay.
Okay, I'll call Mr. Swain. Please state your name, sir.
Sheddrick Swain.
Okay. And is it true that you only visited one time during the period of the temporary orders with your child in Texas?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was your reason for only visiting this one weekend?
During the 3-month temporary order, ma'am. June, I visited. July, it was the weekend during when the networks, when the airlines, all the planes were grounded. I was scheduled to fly. I could not because of that. In the month of August, late July through the month of August, I was called away for training, or not really training, for real world stuff that was happening due to my work.
Okay, and what type of visitation are you requesting from the court to be in this final order?
The summers, holidays, and weekends, 1 weekend out of the month.
So for the weekend, do you intend to have your daughter travel to Alabama, or do you intend to come to Texas?
I have to come to Texas. That's the reason for asking for the reduction, to travel to
Okay.
her if need be.
Okay. Will you be staying in Texas during that weekend?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you wanting to have your daughter overnight while you're here in Texas?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And if it's a longer period of time, like a week or the summer, how are you requesting to visit with your daughter?
For her to come to me, and that's me flying to pick her up and coming back, or she can travel unaccompanied, possible.
Okay, you're wanting her to fly to
Yes,
see
ma'am.
you? Okay, and will you be covering those costs of the
Yes,
flight?
ma'am.
Okay. And with that, are you also asking for there to be a reduction in that $18.18 a month child support?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what are you asking the reduction to be?
$400.
So $14.18 a month?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And do you agree with the period of time I proposed for retroactive child support? The October 1st, 2022 to May 31st, 2024?
Yes, ma'am. I agree with the time frame. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And do you agree with the calculation of support, 39,176?
I do not agree with the calculation, no, ma'am.
Okay. Did you agree with the math? That's all I'm asking, is how we figured that.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what is it about, paying the retroactive that you do not agree? What is your disagreement?
The disagreement with that, ma'am, is at the time when I was providing the support, I was making payments monthly as I'm doing now. That drop off from making payments where I was providing support was cut off when I was notified by mom that she doesn't no longer have that account. And in saying that, that was where it was left. I was not providing an account where I was able to send funds to. So that's, if you close your account, you have to provide me a new source of where I need to provide the money to go to.
Okay.
That was not provided to me. So that's why.
Okay. So you're saying because mother closed the account, you did not provide the support. Am I understanding that correct?
Because mom closed the account and notified me that she was closing an account, at the same time of notifying me that she closed the account, she could have notified me of new account. Yes,
but you do agree that whether it was your fault or not, you do agree that you did not provide support during that period of time.
Yes, ma'am.
And that the amount of 39,176 is the amount that I guess the amount for that support during that period of time.
That was the amount that was calculated, but I don't agree with that amount, no, ma'am.
Okay, what is your agreement with the amount?
Was my agreement with the amount?
Disagreement with the amount.
I think the calculation it's lower. And that's based off of just what my earnings were at the time. Because as I stated, that was just quickly looking through some numbers, and I think it's lower.
Okay. but that-
I have no objection to paying any retroactive pay. It's just I think the calculation is lower, man.
Okay, and we calculated based on the figures you gave us, correct?
Yes, ma'am. But and that's looking through. I thought,
Okay. If the court were to order you to pay this retroactive child support, then do you agree with that amount being $300 a month?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I
And you
have,
under-
I have a quick question, Ms. Warren. You stated two amounts though. What was the $40,085?
That's a cumulative amount that would include what is owing
Yeah.
on the temporary order.
Yeah.
There's 909 still owing.
Thank you. Okay.
All right. And you understand this, the state's not requesting any retroactive medical support or dental support, sir. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, pass the witness.
Mr. Garza, you may
Thank
proceed.
you. Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Swain, I want to ask you about visiting with your daughter first.
Yes, sir.
Before late 2022, were you visiting with your daughter?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and where did those visits take place?
They took place in Florida as I was traveling home from where I was stationed in the military, to home, or even at my home, in North Carolina. Mom stated I was always 5 hours away. I was actually stationed in Colorado for 3 years. I was there from 18 to 21.
So, Mr. Swain, what is it you do again?
I'm in the military, sir.
And how long have you been in the military?
24 years.
And so, you're still in the military right now?
Yes, sir.
And where are you currently stationed?
In Alabama.
And at the time of the temporary orders, where were you living or stationed?
North Carolina.
Okay. And how long do you anticipate being in Alabama?
2 to 3 years.
And do you anticipate continuing in the military after that time?
That's to be determined. I'm not sure at this moment.
Okay. And so how often do you move in the military? Have you been moving in the military?
2 to 3 years, sir.
And in 2022, what is the reason that you stopped visiting your daughter?
Because I was no contact. There was no way to speak with mom.
Now, Mr. Swain, did you have a phone number?
No, sir. The only thing I had was an iCloud deal that doesn't work, so no way to.
And did you attempt to message her through that system?
Yes, sir.
And did you get a response during that time?
No, sir.
Okay. But before 22, you were visiting with your daughter, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Is it fair to say that you already have a relationship with your daughter?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so do you feel you need to create a new relationship all over again?
No, sir.
Okay. Have you ever been a danger to your daughter?
No, sir.
When you were visiting with her before 2022, were there any issues with those visits?
No, sir.
And are you willing to pay for the cost of travel for you to come to Dallas and get a hotel and spend the weekend?
Yes, sir. Providing that I can get some type of relief with the cost that I have to endure during this process. Yes, sir.
And during the longer visits, more than a weekend, are you willing to pay for the travel for your daughter to go see wherever you are, whether that's Alabama or somewhere else?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, around the same time, end of 2022, you stopped with the child support, or you stopped paying some money, right?
Yes, sir.
How are you paying her the money?
I was paying her through her bank account that she had,
And
mom
then,
had.
and then she informed you she closed that account?
Yes, sir.
All right. And did she provide you another bank account information?
No, sir.
Did she provide you some other way to provide money?
No, sir.
Did you know where she was living at the time?
No, sir.
Okay. And she was not responding to your iCloud communications?
No, sir.
Are you asking for the court to deny the retroactive child support request?
Yes, sir.
Are you
Do
asking
you,
the court?
do you know why, and excuse me, Mr. Garza, do you know why she closed the bank account? And I'm gonna
No,
ask her
ma'am.
the same question. Okay.
No,
And
Your Honor.
you don't. Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Garza.
Thank you. And are you asking for a standard possession schedule?
Yes, sir.
And you understand that a standard possession schedule would still mean a weekend a month for the most part, right?
Yes, sir.
But you're asking for the entire weekend.
Yes, sir.
And you understand that also calls for holidays, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, specifically Thanksgiving, Christmas, and summer vacation and spring break.
Yes, sir.
Now, where in Alabama do you live?
Huntsville, Alabama, sir.
All right, and it's fair to say you live over 100 miles from Dallas?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And you have 1 minute left total.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I'll pass the witness.
I have no more questions for this witness. I'd like to recall Ms. Cheeks.
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Cheeks, what is your reasoning for closing the bank account in 2022?
I had an issue where my account was compromised and they were on the verge of trying to figure out what was going on. There was money being taken out of my account. So they had to send me a check with all the money that was still in that account and reimburse me for the money that was taken. And they gave me an option to open a new account, but I went with a different bank. I didn't open
Okay,
another
so-
account with Navy Federal. So that's why I had to close that.
All right. So
checking
Ms.
account.
Cheeks, did you provide him the new banking information?
Well, I wasn't able to because upon several text messages, which I have still, where when I explained to him that I closed the account, there was also amid that there was a disagreement with a relationship I was allowing my child to have with a family member that he didn't want to have, and the conversation escalated, and that's when he hung up in my face, and that's where the disconnect came. And
So Ms. Cheeks, stop the narrative. People have disagreements. So my question was, did you provide new banking information? That would be a yes or a no.
No, ma'am.
And so up to that time, he had been paying, and to present, you still haven't provided banking information or how to send payments to you, yes or no?
No.
Okay. And prior to this order, did he have an email address for you?
Yes.
Okay. Did you provide it through email to him where to send the money?
No.
And he asked you where to send the money?
No, ma'am.
Mm.
I asked for assistance and I didn't get a response.
So when you closed it, you didn't give it to him automatically either.
Well, I didn't have that account yet to give it to him.
Whenever you got it, Ms. Cheeks, you didn't.
Yes, we weren't communicating. He wasn't responding. There was no communication.
Okay. And up to 2022, he stated he was seeing his daughter. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. And after 2022, because the two of you weren't getting along, either way, the child suffered and she was no longer able to visit with her father?
No, ma'am, that's not the case.
What happened?
She was very much consistently visiting with his mother, that's how it had been going even before the disagreement. And he was visiting with it was around holidays and times that he would have off and would be visiting home anyway. So he was able to see her along with all of his other family because she would be at his regular family home. So he was still able to see and talk to his daughter.
Okay. Has he ever kept her overnight?
No.
Is there a reason why he's never kept her overnight?
She was always with his mother.
Mm-hmm. Did he live at that house?
No, he didn't live there.
Okay. Mr. Swain, have you ever kept your daughter overnight?
No, Your Honor.
Why not?
I haven't been allowed to by mom. She's always felt that it needs to be someone else there. Hence the reason my mom, who's my support system when I am away, has been there in the presence of when I have my daughter. I've not been allowed to do so.
Okay. Question for you now.
Yes, ma'am.
In Alabama, does anyone live in your residence now with you or not?
No, ma'am. It's just me.
Okay. And you have accommodations for your daughter?
Absolutely, Your Honor, yes.
Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this a further temp order because I want to monitor to see how the visits go. Mr. Swain and Ms. Cheeks. 1 second. This will be a further temp order. I'll give a date momentarily. So what I would like to see happen and what I'm going to order is you still have you're over 100 miles. You only exercised 1 visit during the temp order. So now I would like to do one, again, it was the 3rd weekend, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
The 3rd weekend. And it was a 3rd weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So we're gonna do 3rd weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and I will make it from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. for 2 months. That has to be completed before any overnight visits. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
A must, has to be. So 3rd weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. for 2 months, has to occur. After that, we're gonna have standard visits. And we're going to come back. Let's see, so that would be, I'm gonna push it into March. And I'm gonna push it to after your visit in March. So temp order coming back on March 26th. Now, on retro child support, I am going to order a retroactive child support in the amount of $20,000 with a $200 payout. And on a temporary basis, I will reduce the child support. However, I reserve the right also to increase it back if you're not exercising your visitation.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And tell me one more time, what was the request, Mr. Garza, on the amount of the reduction of it?
He asked for a reduction of $400 a month.
That's what I thought it was. All right, so I'm going to reduce child support by $400 and make it $1,418. There'll be a retro child support judgment amount of $20,000 with a monthly, well, then you had a cumulative judgment. So it was $20,000 with what again, counsel? So you can have the cumulative.
909.
Right, so one second. So I want to, let me double check the interest again. So it'll be a cumulative of 20,909 and interest is 104 a month. Yeah, so I'll keep it at the payout of the $200 beginning November 1st.
Yes.
Court costs will be reserved. Counsel for the state, am I missing anything that you need for your order?
Well, just 0 on medical retro and 0 on dental retro. And I think that's it.
Dental and medical retro, 0. Coming back, as I stated, on March 26th to review visitation and child support. Anything else, Mr. Garza?
Yes, Your Honor. This weekend is the 3rd weekend. I don't know if my client is able to get here this quick or not. Or if he's gonna start in
That's
November.
fine, but
Okay.
guess that if he cannot, understood. However, he still has to do those 2 months. So if you don't exercise for October, November and December is going to be that 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. you have to do those 2 months of a warm-up period before any standard, which will allow January, February, March to occur. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And there'll be time, let's see. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Are you requesting, let's do spring break? You need to check her school schedule for spring break. There'll be some time in March, but it definitely will occur, it should, before the 26th of March. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Your Honor, sorry.
All right. And that's it at this time.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank
Yes, Your
you.
Honor.
All right, you
Thank
guys
you.
are free to go. I'll see you on March 26th, 2025.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And all parties will receive a copy of the further temp orders via your emails today. Have a good day.
Yes, Your Honor.